So I kind of just threw a big ol' bombshell out there when I was at the doctor today, but I didn't quite go into detail because I was trying to make it quick. But we found out we were pregnant, like I said, at the beginning of January. I got a very faint line, and I was like, eh. Took a digital one. It said no. I was like, fudge. So I actually waited a couple of days, and or a day or two. Took another one, and it said, yep, you are. I was ecstatic. Loved it. Was so excited. Told Tony all about it, obviously, the hubby. Um, and we started planning, like, for number two. And then the 30th was my ultrasound, and we went in, and the sonographer inserted the vaginal wand of fun, and was like, oh, you guys are here really early. Why are you here so early? And that was kind of my indication that something wasn't quite right. And she didn't stay in long. She was like, "Oh, there's not much to see, but has anybody ever told you PCOS?" And I was like, "What? Like, isn't that something that you have prior? I've had a pregnancy. They didn't say anything about it. Like, she's like, well, it can develop at any point. So, yay, so exciting. So not only is it you're technically like 2.5 weeks earlier than you thought, you potentially have PCOS. So talked to the doctor, and they're like, oh, well, here are kind of the options. This is what could be. We're not going to assume anything until you come back in for an ultrasound in 2 weeks. And I left with a very, very heavy heart. I mean, how do you not at that point? You're super excited, and then you're told, hey, things aren't quite as they appear. So the next day, I was at work, and at like 12:05, went to the bathroom before I had to go to a different clinic, and I had passed a large blood clot, and that heavy heart became a very sinking stomach, and the realization that it wasn't going to be this time. And I kind of just like sucked it all in because I had to go to clinic and I had to go see like 30 some people and be with my doctor and do my job. And so I did. And I continued to bleed that afternoon, not a ton. I mean, I didn't have a pad and I wasn't putting a tampon in because you're not supposed to, because I Googled that. And you want everything to come out and your body to fully flush its system and purge everything so that you don't get infections and everything like that. So I made it through clinic. I got home at like 6 o'clock, and Ada came over. Was super excited to see me. Love you, love it. And trying to just hold myself together, and got her settled with some dinner and whatnot, and just kind of turned and looked at Tony, and he was like, "What's wrong?" And that's when the tears started. And I told him all about it, and I said 99% 99.9% sure this is not happening right now. We're not we're not meant to have another one at this particular moment. And he of course then is worried, obviously, and it's like, okay, what are signs, symptoms, what do we need to watch for, what's going on? And I just had blood, nothing major. I didn't soak through the pads like they warn you for. Like, if you soak through a pad in an hour, like, we're going to want to see you in. And all Tony has knowledge of is his sister had one, and she hemorrhaged, so she lost obviously a ton of blood, and that's all he could think about. And I was like, no, we're not there. We're not doing that. It's not what's happening. And just walking him through it. Went to bed early and cried, obviously, which I hate doing anyway, but pretty much sobbed. And he put her to Etta to bed and just whatever. Anyway, and my head and my heart are, at odds because I'm just like devastated. But my heart is just devastated. And I'm like, okay, this is, life ended and I didn't even know, and it ended like 2 weeks ago essentially, and it happened, and my head's like, all right, it's not a viable pregnancy, something was wrong, something is going on, and your body is doing what it's supposed to do. Like, as hard as it is, this is how it needs to be, there's stuff that our bodies do naturally, and we just don't know what it is really and how it's working, but we don't always agree with it. But it was, it wasn't meant to be, or it was meant to happen the way it did, I guess. Anyway, so then been bleeding, obviously, not major, but passing tissue and clots and everything like that, and it's just been hard. I decided not to tell anybody, minus one of my high school girlfriends that I had lunch with, and we just she's kind of outside of my normal circle, and so I felt comfortable doing that. And she's a nurse too, so, and our sister has been having some fertility issues, and we talk about that constantly, and so I shared it with her because I knew I needed to share it with somebody other than my husband. And I'm now at a point, like I was telling Tony last night, I'm at a point where I I feel weird almost, because I know a lot of people say that, take time, like, up to 6 months, which I guess is not necessarily scientifically based, before you try getting pregnant again. But a lot of everything I've read is it's a lot of mental. Like, people said wait longer, so that your head's in the game and you've had time to heal. And I feel weird because I'm not saying I'm okay with what happened. I mean, I guess, like, I'm not happy with what happened by any means, but it happened. I can't change it. I can't go back and do anything different. I have re-examined the things I did in the last, like, month or two-ish, to be like, okay, well, is there anything I did? And I talked to Tony about it. I was like, I don't feel like I did anything wrong, but I think it's your gut instinct to think about it, because, I mean, you're not used to things like that just happening. But he too was like, I can't think of anything that you would have done that, might have been bad to cause something like this. And so, I mean, reassured that, like, I didn't do harm, I guess, or like ill intent, or you know what I mean? Like, I wasn't out doing illicit drugs or drinking or, you know, horrible workout sessions, or, cuz gosh knows I need to, but I don't. Um so yeah, that's where we're at. So then I went in for that checkup just to make sure everything was good. Everything is good. My body is progressing like it should. It's cleansing itself, for lack of a better term. Purging, I think, sounds a little rough, like I said earlier. But anyway, it's it's taking care of itself. PCOS is definitely there. I saw the little cysts in my ovaries, both of them. Wonderful. 35, and you have PCOS. Great. I'll get pregnant. Ah. Anyway, um, life is what it is. You know, you're never handed anything more than you can handle, right? You might want to cry and throw your hands up at times, but you can do it. And I know I can. The doctor said that she doesn't want to put me on anything or treat me necessarily, I guess, for it, because she's like, obviously you can get pregnant. You've had one already. You got pregnant again. Like, I'm not concerned about you getting pregnant. If you try for like 6 months and nothing, then, we'll reevaluate. Maybe we'll give you some medication to help you ovulate more or something like that. So basically, she wasn't concerned, and was like, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So I guess that's a good thing. You know, I know that other women have gone through a miscarriage and things have not turned out as well. So I have to be happy with the blessing that I do have of things are okay and things are going to be okay, and have faith that things will turn out the way they are supposed to. So that is that. That is my story. I feel with the whole thing of emotional, like I don't know how to handle emotions sometimes. But anyway, I feel bad almost that like I should be feeling more devastated, or I don't even know, that's not the right word, that I should be much worse than I am, and I'm at a point where it happened. And Tony, I guess, kind of said it best. He's like, you're very matter of fact. Like, you can't change what happened. You can't do anything to reverse it. It is what it is. And you are very much okay, this happened. Yep, we're dealing with it. And now let's move on. And that's where I'm at. I just would really like to be able to move on in the sense of go to the bathroom and not have Shark Week every time I go, and not have the cramps and discomfort. So that's what I'm waiting for. Um, kind of like to my body in the sense of life to return to normal and be able to work on healing mentally and physically the remainder.